We're going to get started in a minute. Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Latasha, Lotta J, Queen Lotta, for those that don't understand. There's an elder in the house. There's an elder in the house. And you may come on my platform and speak freely. BBSG Worldwide, BBSG, Facebook, Yahoo, and Instagram and Twitter. So follow us on all the major streaming platforms and get down with the discussion of the night. Can you love more than one person? And is it wise to believe that you can or that you should? Are you okay with someone loving you and someone else that they can't live without as well? How many of you are waiting for that person to come along? And then when they come along, I mean, he's perfect. She, they're perfect. They're all that you want, but there's someone else that they're in love with as well. How can you handle that? Can you handle someone being in love with someone else that you have fallen in love with? Yes, ma'am. So, can you handle someone being in love with you and being in love with someone else? What if your mate came to you and said, I love you, I'll take care of you, I got you, but I need to have someone else as well that I can't live without in my corner as well. Can you handle that? Can you, is it, are we to always believe that you can only love one person? And yeah, Spirit Lifter said we are not monogamous necessarily by nature, but we can be. We sure can. That's basically a choice. You're choosing to be with one person for the rest of your life. Some of you are choosing to be with one person, but changing your mind in the middle of the storm. So this hat is hot. I'm taking this hat off. Okay. So forehead and all, y'all getting it off. So what I think that a lot of people don't understand is when you meet someone, they have a past. They have someone that was just in their corner or just coming out of a relationship with them. And that love is not always gone, which is why a lot of people dabble back, backwards into past relationships. Not everybody's relationships ended on a bad note. Some people just ended because they were going in two different directions and, couldn't stay together, or because someone didn't like the fact that, you got to get used to a person being with someone else. I have a famous friend of mine that, I used to tell him all the time, he used to get in trouble. And he used to get in trouble all the time as a pastor. He's a mega pastor. He used to get in trouble all the time because he was always caught up with a bunch of women. And I always, and I told him one day in text, I said, why don't you just tell the world you like pussy? You like a lot of it. Why not just be honest about that and let the chips fall where they may? But you be honest about your truth. Why can't you just do that? So, he texted me, back and said, haha, funny, but I was really serious. You know, sometimes I just think that people need to be honest about the fact that you need more than one person. I don't know if that's wrong or right, but shoot, if you can have friendships outside of a sexual relationship, that's you needing more than one person. I like men, but I am a pastor. Okay. Are you married, Roger? You know, so I just think that people need to be a little bit more upfront and honest. If you want to live in your truth, you're married to God. Yes, we all are, dear. But okay, and you said you like men. Okay, well, go get you a man, Roger. What's wrong? Are you happy? Are you able to go and get a man and be married to that man for the rest of your life? If so, do it. No one can judge you, but the one you serve. So be happy. You know, if you can find happiness in a man and you are a man, then go get a man. So what are you doing? You know, you're gonna wait for people to give you the okay to be you for the rest of your life? Nah, it's not no way to live. No one, you don't owe anyone an explanation of your love and what you like and what you're attracted to, but the one you serve. And as long as you and him are okay, you know, you should be happy. And that's to Roger. Spirit Lifter says, okay, Roger's trying to get hooked up here. Okay. But depends on the maturity level of the individuals. Yes, it does. You know, and I think that even with saying that, Amari, is that we have to start promoting honesty. You know, people living in their truth. If you want more than one woman and you know that one woman cannot fulfill every need that you have, or you want a man or another man or whatever the case might be, you want more than one person in your life available to you when you want that person. It's best to just speak your truth in the beginning. Don't try to be with one person knowing that's not who you are. You like a lot of people. There's some people that just can't be alone. They can't be alone at all. They have to be around somebody, you know. Okay, let me put the link in here. I hope you guys can see it. It's usually when I post something in the chat, it never only, I don't know if everybody can see it, but it's there. I did post it. And no, see. Okay, I sent the link to your messenger, Spirit Lifter, as well as the chat that we all talk in. I did send the link to come on as a guest there. But yeah, when I posted it, it says having trouble connecting, so I'm not sure why it's doing that. But my question to Roger, while you're here and you so boldly spoke your truth, I don't know if Sam Hayes is blocked or not. I didn't block him. He's just not saying anything. So, but anyway, got two people trying to get hooked up. So, or somebody's trying to hook up with someone. But Roger, my question to you, honey, is okay. To Roger and Sam, are you both men who love men? And do you have more than one partner? And do those partners know about each other? Because that's the other thing. You can't have a relationship with more than one person without the other person knowing it. All parties need to know about each other, and a lot of people are not doing that because you know that the person that you're with is not going to be for that, so you're not too easily willing to tell that person now, hey, I got somebody on the side. So that's why you haven't told them, because you know they wouldn't be down with it. But is that helping you in the long run? You want to live in secret about someone else that you're with, or are you going to at least tell that person what's going on? Sam Hayes says, I have 3 husbands. All right. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna let you guys have the conversation in the chat. So because I'm not sure what. Okay. Um, you know what? Let me go out of this and come back in, because maybe that might have something to do with it. Let me try to do something, and then maybe it's me. Okay, so I'm going to go out of this right now, and then I'll come back. Hallelujah. Whoa, whoa.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hello, there you are.
How are you?
I think it was something with my my connection, so maybe that's the reason why I
N-
couldn't
Yeah, I don't
else
know
get on.
why it
So
wouldn't show. It wouldn't show. The link wouldn't show in Facebook, but the link that you sent me went to Facebook, and I
okay.
mean, made me. I don't know. Whatever.
Mhm.
Technologically challenged, so it's
I'm,
it's not
I'm
you.
I'm
It's
trying to
definitely me.
learn, with Mark trying to, push me 10 years into the future in one day. Sometimes it's like, okay,
Hello,
I'll get this stuff soon.
hello.
hmm But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
our
this is a really
subject,
good topic.
yeah, our subject, deals with people, who are choosing more than one mate. Can you choose one mate? Would you be okay if the one you love, after years of being with that person, came to you and said, um, I found this person that I'm really digging right now. I'm
Yeah,
crazy about her or him. And I want her to join our family, as far as being there for me. Not necessarily for, for the woman or for the man, but, you know, would you be okay with that? Because this person is basically saying to you that I need more. I need another person to fulfill needs that um you might fulfill,
right.
but when the times when you're not around, I need someone there. What do you say to that?
Whew.
Can you be okay with that? If a person was living in their truth and they told you that this is something that they desired,
It,
and
you
you loved
know,
them and cared about them.
it really depends on the person.
Mhm.
I think it depends on the person, and uh, but I think that if I was with someone for a long time, realistically,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna be devastated. initially, especially if polyamory was not something that, because basically what he's talking about, what he would
Mm-hmm.
be talking about is polyamory.
Right.
And that's not, if that's not something that we agreed upon early on in our
Mm-hmm.
relationship, that's going
Mm-hmm.
to be a problem. That's going to be heart wrenching for me. Stop that.
Right.
That's going to be a problem for me. And, but
But let
however,
me ask this question.
mhm,
Um,
stop.
what if he tells you, he says, well, is it okay that I changed my mind and I didn't know that at this point in my life I would want that. At
Yeah,
first I
no,
didn't want that.
yeah, no. I mean, I would be initially devastated, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly, I'm not going to say that, um, if this was somebody who, satisfied me
Mm-hmm.
and didn't want to end it,
Right.
and, you know, I'm not going to say that I would, because I'm not anti polyamory.
Right.
I'm not anti, but again, if I've been with someone for a long time, it would take an adjustment.
Yeah.
It would take processing, and then this
Okay.
would be the other thing too. To be honest with you, if 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 he decided to engage in polyamory,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a lot. This is TMI for sure, but we're here to be transparent, right?
Right.
Um, if he
Trying to
were
help
to
some people
decide,
out here.
right, if he were to decide to be in polyamory, then you know as much as me at my age, I am not interested in being in a polyamorous relationship for myself in terms of being with two, come this way, boo boo, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of being with two male energies.
Right.
Um, I would consider it now for myself as well, but I'm not going to say that the second person would be necessarily for sex. But I would
Right.
be open to engaging in relationships. Come on, baby. Relationships. Or another. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Another, because as we've discussed before on this channel, um, you can have different types of male interaction, male friendships.
Right.
So I would, to be honest, to feed my ego, at least initially,
Mm-hmm.
I would allow myself to be open. I am a very loyal person, and I don't, I act as if everyone is, when I'm involved with someone, I
Mm-hmm.
act like however I behave and conduct myself in his absence is the same way that I conduct myself. No, the
When he's
same way I
not.
conduct myself in his presence is the same way I
Right.
conduct myself in his absence. So, so, you know, um, but I would have to say that my ego initially, first it would be hurt. First it would be devastation, because now you've upset my world,
Mm-hmm.
because now I have to consider the fact now that you might be sexually with someone else. And then I have to decide about, do I want to? Because I mean, it's not just about the emotions, it's also about the physicality,
Right.
in terms of, I mean, just being adults, you're having sex with someone else and now you're having sex
Yeah.
with me.
I
I
mean,
don't know
yeah,
if I want to deal with that,
yeah,
you
because it's
know?
basically the acknowledgement is that, the acknowledgement is what you would be afraid of because, oh, it could be happening now. He could be seeing someone else. Not saying yours, but anyone that anyone is seeing.
Yeah.
You don't know what that person is doing. If they're not in your presence, you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it would be more of the having to acknowledge and accept it.
Yeah.
Um, More than it would be, okay, he's going to do this because at the same time, like I said, either way, whether he acknowledges it or not, it still could be going on,
Right.
you
And
know.
and that's the reality. That's the
Hmm.
reality, with look, even if your man is in your house
Right.
next to you all the time. I mean, we have to, and that's the thing about being in a relationship, period,
Hmm.
is allowing and accepting the fact that we, male and female, are our whole individual selves. So we are
Yeah.
still attracted to other people. We still, we're still attracted to other people. We're still, um, flattered when other people acknowledge our intelligence and our beauty and all that.
Right.
That doesn't die just because you get involved with, just because you're committed. But there's a
Hmm.
science to it.
Yeah.
There's a science to how you conduct yourself in that relationship. So if my fella told me
Mhm.
that. And honestly, if he satisfied me, because at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, what is it that I want?
Right.
Um, I have to ask myself, what is it that I want? And if in that moment I still, you know, whatever period of time that I carve out to engage with my fella, and I would just say this. I would just say that because I see someone came on, so I want someone else to
What?
talk. But I would just
Mhm.
say that I would,
Yeah, sure. Come on.
yeah, I'm not going to say I would be close to it. I'm not going to
Mhm.
say that. I'm not going to say that because, but I'm somebody who comes from, I named my son after a man who had three wives.
Okay.
So, I'm in the African culture and I am not anti polygamy. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Or so, and the trickle down from that is polyamory. I'm not anti
Okay.
that. So I'll let somebody else talk. Come on, Pooh.
Okay. I think she just left. Hopefully she's listening. She'll come right back on. Um,
Yeah.
Oshan. Yeah, and I really wanted to hear what I knew she had because with me, her and I have had a little bit of that discussion before. Here she goes. Here she is. Oshan,
Yes,
hey, beautiful. How are you?
I'm well. How are
Good.
you?
Doing pretty good. Trying to get started on this topic. Did you hear the topic?
I heard some of it, then my phone went dead. Well, blanked out. But I can feel where she's coming from completely. She
Mm-hmm.
speaks truth. And, I speak it from the spiritual part of it and the psychological part of it for a
Mm-hmm.
woman to deal with something that like that with a man because most people don't understand that type of concept of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the last thing I heard, she said, I'm from that culture.
Yeah.
And that if when you know whom you are, if you from the culture, you know you are a goddess, a priestess, a queeness, and your
Mm-hmm.
sacredness is to be, adored, humble. You shouldn't settle for nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that gentleman that comes approach you, he should know that. But then if he feels think he needs more than what you offer or whatever your relations be,
Right.
I think that should be talked about before you enter such a marriage or relationship. Because
Oh
most
yeah.
men go out there and they'll do it in polygamy,
Mm-hmm.
because they are feel as though they're entitled to do that and they don't have to let their wife know. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
psychological, that's cheating, that's abuse.
Right. And like you
Mm.
said, it goes back to, in the beginning of the relationship to make your request known. If
Mhm.
it's something that you would even think about in the future, at least let the person know ahead of time. Because even the thought of it is something that I would rather hear in the beginning than to later on down the line, you come out the gate and say, hey, I think I want another woman. Matter of fact, I want two or three.
But it's not, you know what? The foundation starts to say, where do you want to see us go to grow? Do you
Yeah.
want us in one place or two place? Because separation now for the person to have, I see a whole different spectrum of couples now in
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and everybody doesn't live up under the same roof.
Mm-hmm.
Because a man should have his own place, and a woman, they do their stuff because some people don't have, the same entwinement of the kids and things. It's so many factors, but yet they're in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so many people think, you got to be in a relationship in the same household doing the same thing, you know you're going to pay the same bills and all this, but everybody is different.
I used to think like that too until I got married and after my marriage was over with and a couple of relationships after that living with the person. Now, if I ever get married, he has to live in his house and I have to live in mine. I'm not we can live in in a
I
condo
agree
with,
with you.
upstairs.
Yes,
He can
you
be
gotta, you
upstairs, I'll
gotta
be
see it
down.
too.
You
No,
know,
I
two
agree with
houses
you.
next to each other, or he live across the street from me, but you're
Yeah,
not living with me.
there you go.
Yeah.
'Cause it
No.
just,
When I
woo,
don't want to serve you, I just don't want to serve you today. I want to get up and serve Tasha.
and the thing is because you need a mental functioning spiritual break,
Hmm.
emotional self care.
And you can't do that when you live with somebody because they have expectations that, everything, you have your part to do and I have my part to do. I'd rather just have that. I'd rather, you know, let that be an option for both of us. If I want to get up and be able to, say, hey, you cooking at your house today or am I cooking at mine? So, or let's switch up.
And most, a lot of people can't see that type of relationship or
Oh, it can
marriage.
work.
Oh,
It
I
can work.
know it can because I'm doing it.
Mhm.
And
All I want is to live. I don't. I just. I'll treat you the same way as if I'm in as if I'm in a marriage with you. If I'm married to you, I'm just saying I don't want to live with you.
there you go. And
Hmm.
because you need that mental break. I think
Yeah.
because we've been through so much as man and woman
Hmm.
that when we meet someone now, we each have more, as they say, baggage.
Uh-huh.
I call it the PTSD, post traumatic stress, deliverment that we bring forth,
Right.
you
Okay.
know. And we all have our trauma, but yet we're connected to each other. We got a different life without our life together. And
Hmm.
so when you entwine that, now you're dealing with his life and he's dealing with yours, but that shouldn't be
Right.
because it didn't start off like that. And that's not how you two met.
And it's hard. That's hard in itself, when you incorporate that person's family and my family and everybody all living under the same roof and
But,
trying to get used to each other. I'm used to this Negro, but that don't mean my grown ass kids gonna get used to his ways. you
but this is
know
another thing about polygamy.
hmm
I'm gonna get back to this. It's a concept with polygamy because if you know how that saying go, you doing what you doing in the streets, just don't bring it home to me.
okay, I've heard that before.
Right. And so you go out there and you do your thing, but
Hmm.
you're gonna take care of home over here too.
Right.
You got your house over here and they want the woman. It's so many spectrums and levels of this new life of a generation of relationships.
Yeah, because we've learned so much from our parents and what we saw
Indeed.
them go through.
Indeed. And what we've gone through.
And what we've gone through, yeah. But shoot, when a person tells me they have a unconventional relationship now, I'm looking at them like, good for you. Good for you. Whatever works,
Word.
whatever makes you get up and smile and want to go see that Negro or that female, do that.
But it's a level of toxicity, it's a level of abuse,
Hmm.
and we can't forget that because
Right.
we can't miss those factors, those flags,
Hmm.
as they say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it gets like, do you see what I see?
Yeah.
And they think but wait, it's their unconditional love. But it's their unconditional love, but it's not for themselves.
Right.
And
I
and
just,
it,
I just think that the playing field should be even when you live separately like that. I think it's even. Women are not at home sitting up wondering where the man is at, why he's not picking up his phone, who's at his house. You're not worried about. You're not going through that when you live in two different houses.
you can't, but they do. And
You
those are the
should.
ones
Well,
that
let
toxic.
me rephrase that. You shouldn't have to worry about that
You
because,
shouldn't.
I mean, what are you worried about him for? He probably worried about what's going on in your house.
And that's
So
how it
y'all kind of
goes.
even now.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But if you
Hmm.
give the loyalty and the commitment, you know, and you let them know, because we have to realize that men and women, we have our own things going on in our own lives. We are our own person because
Right.
we didn't start like this.
Hmm.
And we carry along other things with us, and we have a life that it was before you.
Right.
And everybody has a different situation and circumstances,
Hmm.
but it's still yet the same foundation.
Right.
But it's just how you want to build that foundation from. Do you want to merge, or do you want to keep it where it's at?
Right.
That's how it goes. If that makes
And
sense.
don't and I encourage you, the ones that are listening to this, don't be afraid to say what it is that you feel will make the relationship stronger between you two, because when you commit to somebody for life through marriage, that person is expecting you to keep your vows. They're expecting you to keep your promises. Vows is nothing but promises.
You know,
Promises. Go ahead.
excuse me. Yeah, those promises, those are
Mhm.
words, and words carry a lot of weight because they come with
Mhm.
actions.
Yeah, an
And
expectation.
yeah,
Hmm.
and but people don't get the foundation, the depth of the expectation, meaning
Yeah.
those words are your bond. You have
Hmm.
nothing else. You
Hmm.
have nothing else within you. It's not even the material things, because that does not matter of the land. I mean, only of the land, but not in the spirit.
Right.
Moving your spirit and your soul, because you really want to take that and put it within your gut,
Hmm.
because that's our senses. Because people, my gut, yeah, this is why we have factors and issues of our digestive system, because that's where our spirit of God being is at,
Hmm.
especially for a woman. That's our sixth sense, and men have it too.
That
They,
intuition.
yeah, they do now. They really do, and
Mhm.
they have awakened to that. They
Yeah,
really have,
they really
and
have. Yeah,
and they don't
I'm
want
proud
to
of it.
build. Yeah, exactly. And to see it happening,
Yeah,
and it's the fight and flight of it. And I'm like, I'm proud of them, but
yeah,
they yet are so bitter.
yeah.
you know.
Men have become women nowadays. Fellas, don't get mad at me for saying this, but some of y'all are very diva-ish. Y'all are whiny. Y'all are fussy. Y'all will fuss and argue back with a woman like a woman. You think we like that shit? We don't like arguing with men,
But
especially a man that likes to argue. Get the fuck out of here.
well, this is going back to
Stop that.
relationships. Listen, relationships, you have to learn how to converse. You have
Hmm.
to learn how to be with what you expect. You must be able to speak truth to the point of it's a freedom.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
freedom.
That's the way
And
I live my life now. If I can't be real with you and I can't be 100 with you, and I see you're not being 100 with me, because I can tell when you're not being 100
that's
with me.
the beast.
I
That's the
can't be
beast.
around you because I can't trust that you're going to always tell me the truth, no matter what it is. Tell me, especially if I'm telling you it's okay. The truth is okay over here.
But it's, you know what? Accountability. We accountability, that's a hard.
Hmm.
Women, we have that issue. We
Yeah.
do. We have that issue. But now we have set it free, and this is where men said a woman can't say when she's wrong. I bet you get the right one, we're gonna tell you more than when we were wrong. You better believe it.
I call it the self-check system I have within my spirit.
You better
Give me a
believe
minute.
it.
I'll probably come back to you and let you know you were right. But give me a minute, okay? Don't argue with me about it. But just give me a minute. I got a self-check system. I know I need to go somewhere and process this. Let me process it and come back and see it the way you want me to see it, and I probably will.
See? Yeah, because they hold the knowledge, and yet now a lot of them have a wisdom
Mm.
they don't want.
Right.
But we have to unite in such a way.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
Latasha, what's your
Yes, ma'am.
answer? What's your answer in
Um,
terms of, and maybe I missed it because I couldn't get on for a minute.
okay.
What's your views?
As far as being with more than one person,
Yeah.
coming from being married, and my husband cheated on me with a woman that he um met in high school, um and then having every relationship, well, I'll say two relationships, the two after that, the one that recently, with like 2017, that was the last serious relationship I had. No, I'm sorry, 2019. Duh. Because he left on December 1st, I mean January 1st, 2020. Um, coming from that and having that to happen to me the way it did woke me up a little bit because um I personally, and this is Tasha, I don't believe that people can stay consistently with one person for the rest of their life. I don't believe it. That's
I
just
Do you
agree.
me.
think do you think men can't, or you think both men and women?
I
Or
think
do you
men
think
and
that's
women
mostly men?
because I feel like I think people have the capacity and the ability to do it, but let one thing happen at the wrong time in your
Oh, yes,
relationship.
yes.
Yeah.
And and that guy that you was looking at your job, and he fine, he always smiling at you, giving them little pearly whites and shit, and your nigga is acting stupid, and you know he's with somebody else. Yeah, you might just go ahead and do that.
You know what?
And you got a lifetime to believe to get to that point, but it could possibly happen. So with me feeling like that, I just feel that I can I just don't think people can consistently stay faithful. I haven't seen, I thought I was seeing it in my parents, but when I got older and found out that there's parts of my father that was doing some shit behind my mother's back, it was baffling to me because I never saw him to be that guy. He never was like that with us. But 50-year-old Tasha done found out some information that, like, dang, daddy,
You
I thought
know,
all them years you were with, mama, you was faithful. I thought you was that guy. He was not. So I don't know. I'm a little, and plus what I've seen, people get married to get into a relationship with somebody else. They can't wait to go and cheat. I just think that people have this unreal expectation about marriage.
you
Marriage
know,
is a partnership where I think it's more, a marriage to me is like a business.
there you go.
It's not, it has nothing to do with sexuality.
Well,
I,
that's
I
how it
think
started
people
out.
think it
Marriage
does.
was
Yeah,
really a contract, and
right,
it really was for economic reasons,
right.
and uh, so that two people can lean on each other to advance in life. So it
Right.
wasn't necessarily, I think the origins of it wasn't necessarily about love.
Hmm.
And in a lot of countries, it's still not about love. In a lot of countries, it's arranged,
Right.
and then you kind of learn to love each other,
Yeah.
and you have
I'm,
children, et cetera, et cetera. And you can learn to love people, but I think also in our, as we become more seasoned, I think
Yeah.
even, I think as we become more seasoned, I would like to think, or at least in the arena in my family and family of friends, there's more of an inclination. Yes, I left it in the bag. Oh, sorry. There's more of an inclination to be monogamous,
Hmm.
perhaps because, look, you run out of options, etc., and or you're tired of playing the field. You're kind of ready to embrace what it's like to be, embrace just having one person to lean on, and one person to lean
Hmm.
on you. I would like to
And you
think
know
that
what?
as we get older, that is the case,
I have something to
but that could
say.
be me just being idealistic.
No, your idealistic is it's happening.
Hmm.
And here's the thing. See, when you do at our age, I've come to find out is
Yeah.
that it's not just the intimacy physically, it's mentally yet and spiritual.
Hmm.
So you can have a balance of two because one can give you the physical and the demean, of the family structure and your peace and home, but yet you have others that you can yet be relaxed and be whom you are in the spirit of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but yet it's so platonic. because it's friends. And it's nothing more than that, because
Mhm.
even though people think men and women can't be friends, yes, we can.
Yeah, I have a lot of
You
male friends.
and that's
Lots of
another
them.
level of intimacy. It really
Mhm.
is, because they care for you, because they are so, at least my friends are, in
Mhm.
my, I guess in my situations, is that the friendship is so close, they let me know the deepest of them emotionally.
Right.
And that's a sexual, as a Netaru whom we are,
Mhm.
a mother, a lover, and just then, want to take care of that person, but yet be it a friend
Right.
with no intimacy. But it's a mental thing. It's really, and Bill Gates, he's the one who really made me more conscious and aware of it. It actually, it
Oh, Billy.
actually has a name for it.
Oh,
And
Billy.
and it's interesting that we see this
Mhm.
and we don't have an explanation for it, but we can feel it.
Right.
And I don't think it's anything wrong with it. But if you have to know how to handle your emotions
Mhm.
when you're dealing with, because you don't want to get attached to someone while you're with this other person physically in a homing your peace surrounding settings, trying to build something up,
Mhm.
but yet you're missing something. So this is where you go seek your friendships at.
Right.
So, and it's like, right now, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm 51, and it's like you look, it's like we have lived a long life,
Mhm.
but yet it's short. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Especially,
like,
especially when it's filled with so many, the triumphs and the successes, are do in parts of your life that it seems like your love life wasn't there. Your love life came in another part of your life. So yeah, it can
exactly.
seem very short.
Yeah, it seems short, but you've done so much, and here we
Hmm.
are now. And I think this is why a lot of people are not just settling, but just coming to themselves
Hmm.
of what they will accept, regardless of what others think and what
Hmm.
others perceive,
Yeah.
because they're living their life and their purpose. And I can see this happening to our parents, like you
Mhm.
said, just about your father,
Right.
right? And I
Uh-huh.
can see something like with my mother, within my mother, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wow, she gave a man 20 some years of her life, and then he decide one day he's not in love with her,
Wow.
you know. So he moved on, but she never did.
Hmm.
So, and it's quite interesting. That's what a lot of people right now deal with.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's so many dynamics out there, and I'm gonna let Brother Ali speak because he's been on for a few minutes. It's so many dynamics out there that again, like I said, as long as people are being upfront and honest about things, I think you get to a point when you look at the temperature of the world and where things are going, and you see how first of all, we're about 10 million more people bigger every year, in this country. Every part of the country has gotten bigger and bigger. So that's like, for each person, that's about 10,000 more temptations you got to say no to. Let that marinate. Yeah. I always tell people, don't get mad, don't get mad at the person for cheating. Get mad, think about the 100 women he said no to.
At the
Because he
same
didn't say
time,
he didn't
I
say
think
he
that
didn't say yes to everybody.
at the same time, I do know men and women that have been faithful to each other and have
Hmm.
hmm
been monogamous, and they worked on themselves, because at the
correct.
end of the day, cheating is, again, I'm for polyamory because that's when everybody is honest. And in polyamory,
Yes.
it's not like it's a free for all either.
Okay.
In polyamory, you decide, okay, we're gonna have either one or both parties will have two mates. We're in,
Mm-hmm.
however you define it, but it's still not a free for all. But again, it's beautiful to see when two adults can love each other for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and actually not cheat, be satisfied. But when you
Yeah.
do cheat, it's a character flaw. When you do,
Mm-hmm.
when you cheat and you lie, and you have
Hmm.
people have whole entire families, you know,
Yeah.
and you don't find out until the person dies, and then
Yeah.
the two wives appear, or the one wife appear, the second wife appears at the hidden wife appears at the funeral. I mean, that's a huge character flaw for you to
Mm-hmm.
lie like that,
And for so
So
long.
again, my thing is, yeah. So if you're gonna do all of that, why not, like you're saying, why not just tell the truth? Why not tell the truth? And for some, I wonder if it's just about the fact that you can get away with it.
Well,
I've
well,
heard a man say that he did it, he cheated because he could.
and you know what? And people think men have emotions too. And I
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be this advocate because it's a all spectrum of what you're saying to be true. But yet, when I've seen a man to actually fight for his child, his children, because these mothers were playing that psychological game with them, and
Mhm.
he feels as though he could never win. So he ended up being in a toxic situation with a younger woman and things. And he met me, right? And
Okay.
so here we are in this situation, and I'm like, okay, focus in on your child because you're going back to the trauma that has happened to you from
Mhm.
your past with your ex-wife, and she went ghost on him,
Okay.
and he had custody of his child. He went to courts,
Mhm.
right? And so the child was raised despising the father, and so now he got into other situations, and now he had another child with a young lady
Mhm.
15 years younger.
Okay.
But by his culture and everything else and his trauma, whether of his past, and he's telling me his story, but he didn't tell me at first because what I seen in him was a narcissist to the T.
Wow.
And so, and I'm studying him. I'm like, okay, because I know who I am. I come
Mhm.
in peace. I didn't bring no drama, no confusion. My life was peaceful. Now
Right.
here I am stepping into this. So this
Mhm.
made me aware of what's going on. I was like, okay, keep mindset, mind straight, right?
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
hearing his plea. And I said, you're speaking truth to me. He said, yes, I am. But and that was our innermost mental spiritual connection.
Mhm.
And I had to look at him, and then I seen his deception as well because he's telling me things, yet he couldn't deal with the situation, but yet he still wanted to be in a relationship with me. But I was like, you know what? You are
His
one who I'm
deception was
laying
more fear.
right,
He feared losing you, and which means he
exactly.
had to be deceptive.
But he kept telling the young lady the lie. And to
Right.
this day, because what he did was compared us two together, and that's what you should never do.
Mhm.
Never do. And especially in any type of polygamy or anything like that, you
Right.
never tell the other woman mentally about her co-wife if she doesn't want to join. And the
Okay.
comparison, the mental abuse, that's what happens when, well, you can just, they feel they can just go out and get another one. And this is what he was doing.
Okay.
Because when he met me, he was like, you believe in polygamy? I say, I do. He's like, well, she doesn't. I was like, okay, so this is cheating.
Mhm.
He's like, well, I'm in a situation. I say, are you sleeping with her and stuff? He left me up on the impression that he wasn't. He was fighting for his daughter. So it comes time. down to it that I found out that he was physically having sex with her and me too. And I was completely sacred, meaning I was celibate.
Right.
And that took me because I had just been diagnosed with lupus and stuff, and I was detoxing my body, and I felt like I was violated, like raped.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
let him know.
he wasn't, he was trying to, as we call it back in the old times, buy his cake and eat it too, or have his ice cream and cake and eat whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, it
And
makes no sense. I want cake and ice cream.
and that's how
But
it
anyway,
feels. And that's how I feel in in some section of polygamy.
mm-hmm.
This is what women feel as though the man go do, lie and cheat and deceptiveness, and yet you do have another wife.
Mm-hmm.
They because some feel they don't have to tell you, you know,
Right.
and and
Well, I
so
mean,
and
he has a right, he or she, because I know that there's polygamy, or polyamory. What is the difference
polyandra.
between polygamy and polyamory? Can anybody tell me that first?
It, Polyandra is woman
I
with
think
men.
polygamy.
Poly- Polyandry,
I
polyandry
think
Polyandra. Wait,
is
listen.
when
Ali?
polyandry involves when a woman or a man can have multiple partners.
There you go.
Polygamy, by definition, is a man with multiple women.
There you
So
go.
sister wives.
Right. And
Yes.
that's really technically called polygyny.
right.
Polygyny.
Okay, so polygyny is when a man is married to multiple women. Polyamory kind of defines as just having multiple partners,
There you
man
go.
or woman having
Okay.
multiple partners.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't
Man
believe
or
in
woman.
polyamory. I don't believe in polyamory because I have my personal opinion. Okay, and this is only my personal opinion. Is
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like every woman would like to be a wife and a mother at some point in time in their lives. I feel like polyamory does not support family. Polygyny does.
Oh yeah, I can see that fact. I can see
And
that. I can absolutely see that what you're
I feel
saying.
like it's being abused now because you have so many people who just are tired of
Just
cheating, so they just want to live under polyamory and just say, okay, so then they can have the free for all. You
It's
know what I
because that's a
mean?
Right.
separate life. That's the separate life we were saying
Right.
about that per se. He stay here and I stay there. We have our own life, but yet we're together. And that's yes, I can
That
see
goes
that.
under both one of those names. I'm
Yes,
not saying I want him to have somebody else. I'm just saying
I
I just don't
know,
want to
but
live with him.
no, but see
So
that's
no,
but that's
I
see
mean, you can have the arrangement however you want to
you
have the
want
arrangement,
right. You can have
but
it any way you want.
polygamy is more like I can go have sex with anybody. I can do whatever I want because I don't own you. You're free to do
You're
whatever
free
you
to do
like,
whatever you want.
and you
Oh,
But
free
when
to do whatever you're like. But polygyny kind of is more of a situation where it implies marriage. It implies a relationship
building
between a man and multiple women under a certain, you know what I mean,
a
contract
foundation,
understanding. Like that. Right.
a foundation, an organization, a corporation. You're building up a legacy somehow. That's what
Right.
that is.
Right.
okay. Hmm.
And I do
So
believe in
some of us are
polygamy.
in polyamory relationships and don't even know it.
Correct.
Oh, definitely.
Correct. Correct.
Definitely.
That's basically okay. No, that's the dating scene right now.
Correct.
Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's
There you
giving
go.
polygyny a
Exactly.
bad name in a way too,
Also,
though.
Mari?
also in polygamy, traditionally, the man is capable of taking care of more than one
Oh
wife.
yes. Yes. It's an honor when a
You
woman
know, so
submits to a
he's
man.
protecting and providing. It's not
Yes.
just about the sex aspect, or you know what I mean. And I guess that's what the brother is also talking about because he's fathering
Mm-hmm.
and you know children, and then in most cases, every wife has her own kitchen, meaning she has her own home, but he is able
Mm.
to take
To
care
provide.
of
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, take care of those wives,
You know what I did? I
and it's
offered
not an excuse,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
you
not.
know.
I
and
offered a
and
nobleman one. I was down for it. I was down to offer a nobleman. And because he was able and he was happy to meet me and everything else, and he was taking care of me. And I was like, okay. He was without child. So I
Mm-hmm.
went out and I found a sister wife for me and his approval. And she agreed to it. And but the thing is, I disrespect him, and and that was my fault. And so I had to, dismiss myself from that because that's of the culture.
Okay.
And so like I said,
Can,
I
can
can,
I can I ask what you did to disrespect him in that situation?
and I called him a liar but he wasn't. He spoke truth,
Okay. So
and it was
okay.
my fault.
Okay. And you
That was
understood that you
my,
were
I did.
you were
Hmm.
not being okay.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and it was like in that blink, it was no comeback from that.
Right.
So
So I
yeah.
mean, with you guys saying that now, I mean, how can you be sure going into your future with one person? How do you be sure?
How do I be sure?
Yeah, how are you sure that you're with that person that if you're in that type of relationship where it's just one on one, how can you be sure that down the line, we got at least a good 30, 40 more years on us, I would hope, that down the line, he's not going to want somebody else or somebody younger, especially somebody that's catching his eye that wants his eye. How
And
do
then
you know that that's not going to happen and he's going to say no to that?
and
But
then
that's a conversation that you're supposed to have in the relationship as you
before,
go.
Yeah,
exactly.
and I
Those are
believe that, but
conversations that
people
those are
change their minds too, Ali. People,
yeah,
what I
people
may wanted, what I wanted 30 years ago is not who I am today. What I wanted 30 years ago was a husband, the picket fence, the little doggy dog outside, the pit bull. I wanted all of that.
right.
But today I could live without it. I
Exactly.
could have a boyfriend for the rest of my life and he'd be Mr. Charlie to all my kids. You know, I'm okay with that right now, because I've seen too much. And I used to work at this hotel, I managed this hotel here in this part of town. I I saw so much cheating going on there from pastors, ministers, people, I just saw too much. And it's like, and these are secrets I got to keep. That's what it was even worse as, managing the building. I had to keep them secrets and see
You know
these
one
people at church.
you know one thing that I learned by dating? I
Hmm.
never date in my city.
Okay. I was like that at one point.
I never I have friends in the city, but I don't date them. No way. And I love people that's in within the city, but they're not from here.
Hmm.
And that means a lot to me because that shows a lot of mental and diverse and thinking and thoughts and ways, not
Right.
just accustomed in a city,
Hmm.
but diversity. And they can have their own self within them because they've lived a life other places than the city, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
And
Let me
and
let me ask
and
you this.
then
Let me ask this question real quick.
mhm.
And this is to all of you. Is there somebody, well, maybe you don't want to admit that online, but can't nobody see your faces, so go ahead. Um, is there somebody in your life, in your past, that you had an awesome relationship with? The sex was the bomb, diggity.com, and you're with someone else right now, or even in the future, is there someone that can still today come back into your life because they were that great to you in the past?
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Nobody?
No, because I feel it was me.
So you did the fucking up, huh?
I'm just saying, they coming from me. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Okay, Ali.
30 years ago. Latasha, you there?
what happened? Where'd
Oh,
she
she's gone.
go? I think she dropped her connection.
Sorry about that, guys. I am so sorry, but Ali had to change his phone, so he'll be back in a minute. Oh no, Oshan is gone. Okay. You guys still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Ali, you still there? Okay, Ali left. I was reading
Who is this guy
someone.
on the? Who's Roger?
I don't know who Roger is, and I at this point I'm probably glad I
I'm
don't.
so alone.
Yeah, he seems like a lot of energy that I don't really want to deal with right now. Because I think they were just, trolling. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they wanted to be a part of the conversation. They were just trolling.
Oh,
That's why I stopped.
totally.
Yeah, I stopped responding
Yeah,
to them.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Hey, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, 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 good discussion tonight.
Hi,
I
sis.
made
Hey, hi everyone.
I made the comment to them. The question was, is there someone in your past that today, because they were still you still got it for you had it real bad for
Oh,
them,
hell no. No, ma'am. Mm.
and okay, so you're done. That person can't never come back, and there's nobody that
No,
can ever come
no,
back in your life right now.
no, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
Yeah, once I'm done, I'm
Mm-hmm.
done. You know,
Right.
I think my now husband, when we got together, thought that there was someone, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, you don't understand how I'm made. You don't get how
Right.
I'm built. When I'm done, you can stick a fork in me. I am done. And
Right.
it's not, there's not anger, there's not animosity. It's
Mm-hmm.
just when I'm over it, I'm over it.
Okay.
Then you could be a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like girls like that.
Right.
I love my sisters, I just don't love my
Mm-hmm.
sisters. So
I
no
got you.
ma'am.
And the reason why I posed that question is, you know, how do you know that later down the line that the person that you're with, that person that there's someone that comes back into their life and they go for it or they want them around?
You don't know. You can have conversation. You should
Mm-hmm.
be able to build trust with
Right.
that person so that they understand that you care about them and their happiness. You
Mm-hmm.
may not always appreciate their choices.
Yeah.
I mean, in anything, and this doesn't even have to do with another person or what have you. You don't always have to appreciate their choices, but you
Mm-hmm.
respect the fact that they have them.
Right.
You respect the fact that they are due those choices and those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of the matter is, I've known my husband literally since I was in diapers, my present
Okay.
husband. And
Mm-hmm.
so, therefore, let me just say this. When it comes down to monogamy, is that my preference?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But the reality of the matter is, Tosh, I have lost people that I love dearly.
Right.
I've buried friends. I've buried my granny. I've buried my brother. I've buried my dad. Literally held his hand when he took his last breath. My husband having a physical. Is there someone there? I just don't want to.
I'm good. I'm on
Like a sexual relationship with another person would not
Mhm.
devastate me. That is not the most horrific thing that could happen in my life. Because
That
the things
part.
that have happened that have been really, 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 really difficult
Mm-hmm.
is death, is the loss of a human being that I love. And I
Yeah.
love my husband so much that I could not, I'm not saying that I would stay because I don't know how I would feel in that situation. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I would still love him. I know that I would support his choice. That
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to stay in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say 100% that that's something I would do, but it
Right.
wouldn't devastate me. It wouldn't be
Mhm.
something where I would be like, oh, hex on you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, because I love him. I love him as
Right.
a person. I
Right.
love him as my friend, first
Mhm.
and foremost. And I would want him to be happy. If he's not happy with me and he opts to be with somebody else, or he has something like a itch that he feels like he needs to scratch, then best you have the conversation with me.
Right.
And, we'll see what happens from there. I can tell you how I feel at this moment because
Right.
I'm not in the situation. But I can't promise you what my choice would be in
Mhm.
the situation. You
Gotcha.
know? You
And
don't
yeah,
know what
until
part
it
of a
happens, you
person.
Well
don't
said,
know.
You
Andrea.
don't.
Well said.
Until it happens, you
Well
don't
said.
know what's gonna happen, and you don't know how you're gonna react. But
Absolutely.
you saying that, was I'm glad you said that, because what's the until I get to that point, you know, I'm gonna still love that person. I'm still going to, but I
Absolutely.
would think that, moving forward, everybody has to understand, you have to give that person the open door
To
to come
converse
and
at
sit
the
down and
minimum.
express that.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
The
There is
open door.
nothing he could say to me that would make me not love him.
Right.
What could someone say to you? What could your child say to you, even if they called you no good, whatever, whatever? But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that you don't still love them. Now you have to start drawing boundaries because
Right.
certain behaviors or what have you, or treatment of who you are is not acceptable. But if
Right.
that becomes something that is not acceptable for me, if it doesn't work with my spirit, if he decided to be with somebody, be it an itch that he wanted to scratch or another person or what have you,
Hmm.
like in a relationship, that probably would be more devastating than an itch. Scratch,
Gotcha.
I probably would be like, scratch that itch, get it over with, be really, really safe.
Hmm.
And then, we can talk about, because it's not about that I've done something wrong. I'm not going to look at myself like, oh, what is wrong with me? And he
Right.
has it. Oh, so what chicken butt? It's not that serious.
Hmm.
You want to put your dick in another woman? Oh, well, that's your penis. I have no control over how you deal with that thing dangling between your legs. None.
No,
None.
you can only hope he's not, or she's
Because
not.
my friends say to me, "Oh, you're so trusting. You really truly believe that this man is not cheating. Don't you think you're being a bit naive?" And I say to them, I say, "Well, you know what? Perhaps I am." I said, "But the heart don't grieve what the eye don't see. I don't know about it, and so therefore I'm not going to put it in my mind that it's a possibility.
Right, because you
I'm
can
just not."
manifest
Right.
it too. You can manifest it that way by thinking about
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
So,
and I tell them, I'm good over here, boss. Do
mhm,
you deal with your situation how you want to deal with yours, but this is how
right,
I opt to deal with mine.
right. And this is the grown woman way.
From
Hello,
my
somebody.
So
perspective, because you know what, it works for
absolutely.
me. It works for me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because
I like the way
people
you
are not.
think, Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, for real. Because people are not perfect. Nobody, and you
Absolutely
can't
not.
guarantee nothing in life until it happens. You can't. So stop making these promises, people, that you don't know if you're going to be able to keep.
And here's the thing, Latasha, from my perspective,
Hmm.
being faithful has nothing to do with how much you love a person.
Right,
Commitment has nothing to do with how much you love a person.
right.
What you commit to has
Hmm.
nothing to do with your feelings.
No, or your
Okay?
penis.
It just doesn't. It don't have nothing to do with your damn feelings.
Yeah.
Because you can lose that love and feeling for anything, for your
Hmm.
job, for your career, for whatever. But you've made a commitment to whatever it is.
Hmm.
And the desire to fulfill the commitment, because that's something that is innately within you,
Yeah.
as integrity. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That's the whole premise. You
Right.
are committed to the relationship. The relationship in and of itself is an entity. It's
Hmm.
not just being faithful to me. It's not just being committed to me. It's being
Right.
committed to what we built.
Right.
The
Period.
commitment to the commitment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All day.
So for instance, somebody who's trying to push up Tosh. He's so alone. Oh,
I'm sorry, say that again.
I see this thing where it says Roger Winchester. He's so alone.
Oh yeah, I think he was,
Hey Raj,
trolling. I think,
come in, have a conversation. Why you
yeah, I
feeling
mean,
all
if
boo?
he's in here, yeah, I'll put him on if he wants to be on,
I don't think that's what's going on, but
yeah, I think he's trying to find someone tonight.
okay.
And
Okay.
But he said
the
he
other
was a
thing about
pastor.
love,
Oh.
He's a pastor who loves men.
That's
Yeah.
hard. He should
That ain't
come in.
nothing. People, that ain't nothing new. Don't let that surprise you.
Not at all. But maybe he wants somebody to talk to about it, and if he does, hey, look, my ears are open.
That's
I feel
normal.
it.
Uh-huh.
Marty, what were you saying?
I was going to say that one of the, on a
Look at my room. Look
spiritual
at my room.
level, loving someone else is really about you. It's an opportunity for you. And on a spiritual level, there's no obligation and there's no expectation. And that is something that is a hard concept for the spiritual being having a human experience to view or to accept. But
The
it's
ego
about
gets in
it's
the
an
way. The ego.
opportunity. Exactly, because it's really an opportunity for you to decide who you want to be in relation to this other person. How do you want to love this person? How do you
Mm-hmm.
want to be committed to this person? What is your character like? And then that other person is also to bring that same energy
Right.
to bring that same energy in terms of acknowledging that it's an opportunity. So if I want to bring someone who is full of integrity and and someone who wants to support my mate
Mm-hmm.
110%, who wants to be authentic and raw, and then that's who I will be. And there's no need for anybody to put any because really and truly, as you can see, we can be married, we can sign that legal document, we can verbalize how much we're
Yeah.
committed and still not honor our words. So but if you are someone who understands that
Okay.
being in a relationship is an opportunity for you to decide who you wish to be,
Right.
and that other person, then you know that it's not about that other person making you happy. It's about you bringing your happiness to that relationship, and that other person bringing their happiness to that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and then the two of you operating in bliss, realistic. But
Mm-hmm.
the bliss comes from not focusing. That's what I love what Andrea is saying. It's not about I mean, it's not about being focused on what that other person is doing all the time, or
Thank
being
you.
focused on, um,
I
being
refuse.
focused on, yeah, it's not, because
That sounds so draining.
it is
It
very, and,
is.
and I've never been that kind of person, because guess what? My life is full. My life is exciting in of itself. I have things going on. I have aspirations and goals that
With
I'm
or
working
without
on.
that person. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, there's a certain I build my life, and then I add my love to my life. I don't My life isn't surrounding my love. I
He
build my
doesn't
life, and
complete
then
you, like that stupid saying.
exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm fine, but I know that I have emotional needs, I have
Absolutely.
physical needs, I have that need for affection and attention. And
Mm-hmm.
that person fits into the time that I've allotted for that. You know,
Right.
but but you think I'm going to spend the time that I've not allotted for that to be following you up? I want you to live your life, but the only thing that I expect is for you to be authentic with me. So if there comes a point in time that you decide that whatever we have built together is no longer feeding your soul, then I
Absolutely.
have to accept it. I have to
Yeah.
I have to accept it. And then from that point on, I decide where we decide where we go with that,
From here.
in
Exactly.
terms of,
Absolutely.
and from there. And I agree with you, Andrea. In the grand scheme of things, it is not the most devastating thing. It would be upsetting to me, as I said earlier, Latasha. It would be upsetting for me because I'm in a committed relationship. I don't want to move on. I don't want to get to know anybody new and all that stuff. I'm
Absolutely. Ew.
comfortable
Right.
here. So
Mm-hmm.
it is going to be upsetting for me, and it is going to be devastating for me in the moment. But I process things very well. And after I take that time, and it will hurt me, but after I take that time to process, then I have to decide, okay, so these are what my needs are. Am I
Mm-hmm.
willing to stay inside of the, if
Mm-hmm.
he's saying he wants me in another, am I
Mm-hmm.
willing to stay in that relationship and allow him to fulfill my needs, or do I decide to go elsewhere, or do I decide that I add someone else in the picture? It may not be sexually, it may not be,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm really not somebody who wants to give myself to two people at the same time, but there
Right.
might be someone else that might emotionally satisfy me, whereas before there was that one person. Is that something that I want? No, but I understand and I respect when people
Right.
um pick a relationship or adjust to a relationship based on their individual needs. This is a no judgment zone. And in terms of the
Right.
brother Ali saying that he understands polygamy or polygamy,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with him. I understand that, for with the polygamy, we're talking marriage and babies. And I do think that
Mm-hmm.
the average woman that I know wants to be in a monogamous relationship, but there are those that don't. And there are some that don't want to be mothers and don't necessarily need to be wives. And then there are
Right.
some that have already been mothers and have already been wives. And now that we're women of a more mature age, uh, a polyamorous relationship might be okay within a certain parameter, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of addressing your specific topic.
Right.
Absolutely. There are rules to everything. There are
Mm-hmm.
rules to everything. It's not just rules to a monogamous relationship. I have friends who are in polygamous situations.
Right.
You know, there's a person who they have brought into their marriage, and that person is basically married to both of them, married to the woman and married to the man.
Mm-hmm.
And
An
they are
assistant.
all, and it's happened and it's worked for like
Mm-hmm.
20 some odd years, which is longer than the average marriage lasts.
Wow.
And have they had to work through things? Yeah, but in
Mhm.
whose relationship doesn't have to work through things? You
Right.
know, there's a learning curve to all of it.
Right.
And what works for you works for you.
Right.
And they have, listen, the legally married wife, she has children with the legally married husband.
Mm-hmm.
The woman that they brought in, she had children when she came into the circumstance. They all
Mm-hmm.
raised their children together. You
Right.
know, they're young children at this time still,
Mm-hmm.
some of
Okay.
them, and some of them are older, obviously, because they've been in
Mm-hmm.
this 20 plus years.
Right.
But the ones who are older don't seem worse for the wear. I mean, listen, I
Right.
could be in a monogamous quote unquote situation and still have my kid have to go to see the shrink when he turns, 30. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, who knows what their children have absorbed? But they seem to be well-rounded. They seem to be, productive members of society. They seem to be okay. Their parents have checked in with them. Are you comfortable? Do you like so and so? Do they make you feel at ease? Are you comfortable with the fact that you have two mommies? Are you comfortable? That kind of thing. Because, of course, when kids are growing up, particularly in the teen years, they'll have friends who'll come by who'll ask these questions like, why do you have two mommies and a daddy? Like, what is that? Because it's not the typical. So whatever they've done, they have been able to raise those older children to be well-rounded people. So it still can work even with families.
Agree.
Totally
I
agree.
agree with you. I have in my life, I've told Latasha that I named my son after a man that had three wives, and they believed in nation building, and their marriages lasted about 30 years.
Wow.
And
I can respect that. Yeah.
yeah,
I,
and so and I saw and oh, and this is the other thing. Every last one of them
mhm,
each one of them are, in terms of talent and intelligence and brilliance, they
mhm.
are individually and collectively a group of intelligent and brilliant people. And I
Right.
do believe, you know, that in terms of the dynamics that worked for them in terms of being able to produce some amazing human beings. So it's to each his own at the end of the day, but the most important thing is people just understanding what your individual needs are and then being comfortable sharing
Mhm.
that truth with another person,
Right.
because everyone needs to be I think everyone wants and needs to be hugged sometimes.
Mhm.
And however you can, whatever is comfortable for you in terms of how you get that hug, as long as everybody's being honest and no one's lying to each other, I
Yeah.
think you can kind of work through anything, because God knows there's a lot of women that opt to be mistresses for years, you
Yeah.
know, and that to me, I try not to have
Know
a
about the other
judgment
family
zone.
and everything.
Right, exactly. And
Mhm.
that second woman knew about the first woman. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And for me, I'm very much into sisterhoods, so it's bothersome for me when it's on that level.
Right.
When
And
it's being
that's
dishonest. Yeah. When
yeah,
there's dishonesty.
when because
Hmm.
yeah, exactly, because again, to me that's a character flaw for the man to do that. You made a vow with me.
Yeah.
We have a family, we have children. You look at me, you sleep with me, you look me in my eyes, you tell me I love you, and then you have another family that you do the exact same thing with, I mean, come on. So would it not have been better for us to just have that conversation? Because if that second woman could be a mistress all these years, perhaps perhaps if you opted to have a conversation and say, I rather have two wives, or I'm falling for someone else but I still want you, you never know if that could have been that everybody could have agreed, even keeping their separate
Actually,
Hmm.
you
homes.
all agreed. Y'all just didn't know about each other, so you agreed anyway.
Well, you can't agree with something that you don't know anything about.
Right, it's
Right.
the
But
second
no,
one
my
that agreed.
point is,
The wife
my
didn't,
point
the
is
first
that
one
it would
didn't.
have either way, it would have worked because you see now that, like we were saying before, is that relationships can get to the point of death for that husband, and then the other family comes out and you never knew about it. So my point was is that either way, whether you thought you could work it out, and this is to the person, to the people that feel that they can't go to that person and sit them down and talk to them about their needs and what it is that they feel that they need at this point in the game of their relationship. If it
Right.
worked, if you've seen it work for your family members, your friends, or whatever, I mean, those people may not have known about each other, but in retrospect, it worked because he still had two families that knew nothing about each other.
Hmm.
So it's not something that
Yeah,
can't work. It's just, will you agree to it?
right. As the first wife, would you agree to it?
Right? Would you agree
I
to
mean,
that? Because
the
you
mistress
might be
obviously
agreeing
did.
anyway. Right?
Yeah, the mistress
Right.
obviously did.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, my. Mhm, go ahead.
Women, I think, I know when and this is back in the day, when I did have that relationship with a man that had another wife, um, it was easy. I didn't have to do all the work of the wife. So it was easy. That was the reason why I did it. I didn't have to do none of the wife shit, and that's more than likely most women, when they are that side chick or that side girl, whatever, that's why they do it. It's easy. I don't have to do the stuff the wife does.
I hear you.
And that's not a good, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm just saying that that's the mindset sometimes of the females that do that, is because it's easy. Don't Some
Right.
women don't want a relationship to where she has to be responsible for his feelings. When you're in a side chick that type situation, you don't care about his feelings because he's cheating on his wife. So why you care about his feelings? You tell him the truth or not, to the extreme. Because
Mm.
he's lying to her. He's not lying to you. He's lying to her. So,
And I
with
think
that
also,
freedom come in with knowing that, some women get into relationships with men like that, and men do the same thing with women. They have they're willing to be the side nigga, because
hmm
there's no work involved. It really isn't.
hmm yeah, that's true. That's true when it comes to the fellas. And I think it's a matter of you want what you want when you want it. For
Hmm.
some women, for some women, there's a loneliness. And loneliness, I think, can sometimes make you insane. And which I've said before. And
It
then,
does.
you couple that with, I just want what I want.
Hmm.
I don't care who's involved, what's involved, what I don't, I can't think about what I don't see, so as long as I don't see this woman, she's not necessarily real, but it's, I want what I want when I want it. And that's the reason why women can so easily get involved with, you know,
Hmm.
with a married man, I think.
Right. But there are more couples now that are seeking out sister wives or another partner or chick together. It's a lot of them doing that now. There's,
I've had the opportunity to be
man,
the second wife,
yeah,
absolutely, within
they're
a marital
seeking that now.
circumstance.
They don't, it ain't,
Mhm.
and it's the wife that's coming looking for you.
That's exactly how it happened. She and I were
Hmm.
on a volleyball team, and you know, um, and she befriended me, and I thought she was awesome
Hmm.
and brilliant, and she was a little older, and I kind of looked at her from a mentorship perspective. I was newly divorced, and I was in a fairly vulnerable place, but I personally just didn't get with it. It just wasn't for me. I didn't judge them. I understood where they were coming from. I
Okay.
even understood all that they were offering me, which was a lot, in
Yeah.
terms of like financial stability, things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. There was a lot that they offered
Hmm.
me, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. And, I've had friends who said to me over the years, don't you feel foolish that you didn't go get with that? And I say, well, no, because it didn't work for me. I
Right.
loved
Right.
I
her
I I
as
couldn't
my
do it.
sister. I loved her as my sister, but I could not
Hmm.
see myself being sexually involved with her. That just was
Exactly.
not my thing,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
therefore, how can I possibly say I'm going to be in this situation when I
Hmm.
know blinking well that ain't my thing?
Right.
That I don't want soft and squishy. I want I want masculine. I
Yeah.
don't want a woman. And
Yeah.
so
Agreed.
that wouldn't have been a fair thing for me to even try to get into. And she
Right.
and I actually were able to maintain a friendship,
Hmm.
well beyond that, which was good because that was what I wanted and that was what I was seeking from her, from the beginning.
Right. Hmm. Interesting. This has been an interesting conversation. The world has changed a lot. You know, what we thought wasn't normal is now becoming the norm.
Has the world changed? Has the world changed, or are we just talking about it? Because I kind of feel like
Yeah,
some of
I
this
agree. You're
has
right. You're
been in
right.
place for a lot longer than
This has
we've
been
been
going on for
discussing it.
ages.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're right. We're just now talking about it.
And we're
And that
learning to accept, that, families don't come, you
all
know,
all
absolutely,
lifestyles matter.
absolutely,
E-
absolutely. I mean,
Except those dealing with children. Stay away.
yeah,
But all the
yeah.
other lifestyles
Well, that's
matter.
because they can't consent. I mean, between
Right,
consensual adults,
exactly.
all
Just want to
lifestyles
make that
do
clear
matter.
for the ones that don't understand what I mean and want to take their
Oh
own
no, I
meaning
gotcha.
behind it,
I gotcha. Yeah.
But I'm not against anyone, looking for happiness in the way they see fit. If you know you better than I know you. You know what you like, you know what you're attracted to, you know how your thoughts go when no one else is around. You know you. So, live in that truth, but be honest with the person you bring into your life. It's very important that you be honest because you're going to save yourself and that person a lot of grief by being honest from the get-go. That I live my life now, trying to speak, the truth about everything concerning me because not only am I trying to help people, but I want to learn about other people. I want to learn what I don't know. And the only way I can learn that is to ask questions, because at this point in the game, like I said, I want to believe that people can be loyal and with the person for the rest of their life. But I think after maybe 60, I'll probably get married around 60, 65.
Okay.
That's not a bad idea. I hear you on that.
Nothing wrong with that. And I think you have to live your life with authenticity. Life is, short, realistically speaking, even if we did live to be 100. That's still, life is still short. And it goes by so fleetingly, so quickly. Where you're already at 100 and you're like, listen, I'm at 50 plus, and I'm like, huh? How'd that happen? Because there's still a part of me that feels like I'm 20 something, but my body
I'm
tells
with
me
you on that.
otherwise. But my body tells
Ah.
me otherwise. Or when
Hmm.
I come into the kitchen and I forget what the hell I'm in there for. Sometimes my mind tells me
Yes.
otherwise. But the reality of
Yes.
the matter is living your life with authenticity and clarity is so much better. So going back to 20 when I was trying to be, uh-oh, where'd Latasha go?
She'll be back.
Okay. When you're living your life trying to be something that other people think you should be, that's so exhausting. And it's not remotely
It is.
fulfilling. It's not remotely fulfilling. I am at such a better
It
place
is.
at 50 plus in a lot of ways than I was when I was 20. Because at 20, I didn't even know who the
Absolutely.
heck I was. So
Absolutely.
if you told me this is what I should be, I probably would just try to mold myself into
Mhm.
that person as opposed to
Mhm.
trying to figure out really what genuinely made me happy.
Okay. Latasha said that her phone died, so she wants us
I
to
got
end the
you.
live for her.
All right. Okay. All right, sis. Well,
But yeah,
you
but
take good
finish your thought.
care.
Finish your thought.
No, no, that was it. That was it. I'm just saying that I'm at a better place being authentically who I am.
Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking about that just today, that I am just beginning. I'm 50 plus as well, and I am
Mm-hmm.
just beginning to truly embrace certain aspects of myself or come into an understanding or be at peace with certain
Mm-hmm.
aspects of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that is giving has offered me so much peace, you know,
Yeah.
that I wouldn't trade, I wouldn't trade. And I'm not one of those people anyways that complain about aging. I think that's a little interesting because um you know when people get upset about their birthdays, I'm like, well, it beats the alternative, doesn't it? You know,
Absolutely.
so for you to be upset about the fact that you're 50 plus, you know what I mean? Like not you, but people in
Absolutely.
general,
Yes,
you know,
but
when their birthdays come around and they're upset about it, I'm like, but it beats the alternative. It's a beautiful thing. And the older we get, the more, you know, I called it season for a reason. You know what I
right.
mean? Because we have, you know, we embrace, we might be a little spicier, definitely. We're more
Yes.
honest with ourselves, which means we're more honest with others, you
Yes.
know, and so I agree with you. I just I appreciate so much more who I am today. I appreciate the journey, but there are
Yes.
aspects of the journey that I would never want to relive, even though every aspect of the journey contributes to who you are today,
Right.
Andrea to who I am today,
Right.
but I wouldn't want to relive it. But I, you know,
No,
but I
ma'am.
still appreciate it,
Right.
you know? Yeah,
But
I
you've
appreciate
experienced
it.
it. You just don't want to re-experience it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right.
I love who I am today,
Yes. And
you
that is
know?
a beautiful note to say goodnight to.
Yes,
Lord.
good night. Good night, sister.
All right. Thank you. You take good care. All
All
right.
right, you too.
Peace.
Speak soon. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
We had a beautiful discussion tonight. Guys, please send and share this live with your friends, and let's have the discussion about truthfulness and honesty in relationships. If you're going to do it, it's best that you be honest about it from the get-go, from the beginning, and state what you want in your life. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you to my guests, Ali, Andrea, and Mari. Thank you guys for coming on, having this discussion with me. I learned so much from you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Deuces. Bye-bye.